Welcome to the On Deck podcast presented by LineStar. I'm Shannon Sommerville here with Tyler Wiemann. We are ready to break down your daily fantasy baseball slate for tonight. It is Thursday, August 4th, and it is also National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, which I dropped the ball on. Didn't make any chocolate chip cookies. I did make them for our interns earlier in the week, Tyler, but
I'm really bummed I missed those.
It's also
Shannon.
National White Wine Day today. On a Thursday? Perfect. We love it. A little Pinot Grigio, unwind after a long day of daily fantasy.
Yeah, I don't really dabble into the white wine myself, but
We also got football.
we do.
Hey.
It's back. Preseason
Football's
starts
back.
tonight.
Raiders taking on the Jags. Just feels so good to have football back. And it's also a national holiday because fall camp starts today for my Georgia Bulldogs. Can I get a go dogs, Tyler?
I'll give you one. Go Dogs.
There we go. So let's get to some MLB storylines because we got a lot going on lately. Mets Braves begin a 5-game series separated by 3.5 games for first in the NL East. Should be quite the battle there. Syndergaard and Quintana making their pitching debuts for their new teams. We'll be talking about them in our report for today. Musgrove and Padres looking for a 5-game sweep of the Rockies.
Love it.
Heyo.
And how was that
Slam
game last
Diego.
night? Yes. Welcome, Brandon Drury. Love it.
Yeah, 5-game win streak for them. And the Dodgers are on a 4-game streak as well. So this sets up quite the weekend.
I know. It's going to be a big weekend. Dodgers still do have a big lead, though, in NL West.
I was reading on FanGraphs. They had an article out about who were the winners and losers in terms of the trade deadline. And, of course, Padres were the winners. And they actually said that statistically, because FanGraphs, they do the ZiPS projections, and they said statistically that the Padres right now are projected to be better than the Dodgers.
They also are saying that as far as the projected OPS, the two best guys in baseball, Tatis and Soto. So we could have some fireworks.
Right,
could be a fun end of the season here.
This morning we were talking about Tatis's return.
Yep,
and
can't wait for
it's
that.
a hot ticket here in San Diego.
Yep, sure is.
Also, it's worth noting that rookie Steven Kwan on an MLB best 17-game hitting streak.
Yep, he's hot again. He started the season off on fire, and he's doing it again.
So we got a lot of fun storylines in Major League Baseball. So let's get to tonight's slate. We'll start off with a few weather notes because there are a few maybe spotty games, so to speak. So let's talk first about the Nationals at Phillies game. 92 degrees, 25% chance of rain, and a 9-mile-an-hour wind out to center. Stray shower is possible, but kind of unlikely. This game should be good. Braves at Mets, 85 degrees, and an 11-mile-an-hour wind out to left. So that's very hitter-favorable conditions there. Rays at Detroit, 84 degrees. There is a 49% chance. This is probably the diciest weather on the slate today. Could avoid it altogether, but it's just something to watch. Houston at Cleveland, 82 degrees, 38% chance of rain, 5-mile-an-hour wind to center. Rain should clear before first pitch there at Progressive Field. Cubs at St. Louis, Busch Stadium, 84 degrees, 13% chance of a shower, but it's pretty unlikely. And Boston at Royals, 90 degrees. Wind is blowing in, though, from center. But yeah, some nice favorable hitters weather. Temperatures are up, and as we've seen, those bats starting to come alive. Well, they've been kind of crushing it lately. So remember in the beginning of the season when we were struggling for hits?
Yeah. And today might not be a very high-scoring slate. A lot of the totals,
a lot of good pitchers.
Yeah, and a lot of the totals are like 8-ish. So,
all right. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel so you can keep up with all the latest video content that we're coming out with. We've got quite a lot going on here at LineStar. And be sure to comment below. Let us know what your favorite moves were at the trade deadline, or if you're celebrating National Cookie Day today. National Chocolate Chip Cookie. Got to be specific.
It's got to be the chocolate chip.
And if you're also celebrating.
I'm really bummed I missed your chocolate chip cookies this week. They are delicious.
They are pretty legendary. I do make
if you say yourself.
Chocolate chip. Well, the people say.
Yes.
Reviewers have spoken.
Okay.
If I had a Yelp review, it would be 5 stars for my chocolate chip cookies. I'm just saying.
Dang, girl.
I'm just saying. Okay?
All
you know,
right.
yeah. Let's move on to our chalk report for today. And we'll talk about our high-owned pitchers for this. I was trying to find a transition there. Like, that's how the cookie crumbles. Yeah. Let's see how the cookie crumbles for today's daily fantasy slate. There we go. High-owned pitchers for today. Astros righty Justin Verlander going up against the Guardians today. 40% owned on DraftKings, 32.2% on FanDuel. Mm-hmm. What's there to say about Verlander? The guy has an MLB best 1.81 ERA and a sub-200 opponent average. He's pretty awesome.
And he's been amazing the last few starts. We do only have him at a 3-star alert rating, though, today. He's been in 5 straight perfect lineups. He's been absolutely great lately. The one thing I need to bring up, though, we don't need to harp on all the good things about Verlander because obviously there's a lot. But Cleveland has been very good against Verlander. In 35 plate attempts, they're hitting 365 with a 300 ISO. The other thing is his StatCast data hasn't been great. 47% fly balls and very little soft contact.
Yeah. As I was looking through, the pitchers for today, I'm really liking the low-owned guys for today.
I agree.
So we'll get to them, but first we got to talk about the high. Okay, go ahead.
With that, I think pitcher ownership is going to change dramatically throughout the day.
Yeah.
Quintana is going to come up a lot. I think spring, especially with the weather concerns, is probably going to come down. And so make sure you pay attention to the LineStar ownership page as things will change throughout the day.
We got Rays lefty Jeffrey Springs going up against the Tigers. 37% owned right now on DraftKings. 19% owned is his projection on FanDuel. 2.70 ERA, 2.37 opponent average. Last outing, 3 earned runs on 6 hits, 5 strikeouts in 5 against the Guardians. This wasn't my favorite play for today, certainly, but Springs is okay.
This game as a whole, I don't really love. But Springs has like a 3.8 FIP over his last 20 starts, but over the last 5, it's 4.7. So he's been dramatically worse lately. Now, is he going to regress back to that 3.8, or is he more really the 4.6 or 4.7 type pitcher? We're not totally sure just because of his young career, but he does have a good matchup, and I mean, we're going to need to be the 3.8 guy to really pay off like this ownership and everything. Detroit is a lot better versus lefties than they are righties, but there is a nice 24% combined K rate for Springs today. So there is some upside at his cheap price.
Next up, we're going to talk about Phillies. Yes, Phillies. Noah Syndergaard. Yep. Thor got moved to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, where he will join his former Mets brother and Zach Wheeler.
And they're wearing their powder blue uniforms today.
Love it.
Yeah.
Going up against the Nationals today. 29% owned on DraftKings. 22% is his ownership projection for FanDuel. He's got a 3.83 ERA, 2.44 opponent average. Last outing at the Royals, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, and 5 2/3. I did think that he was starting to find his groove a little bit towards.
Yeah, his K rate has finally came up, which I know in the beginning of the season we kept harping on like his K rate just not being there.
Right. And
it started kind of come up closer to his career average. So there is a little upside with him recently, but we have him as a 3.5-star alert rating. Some of the reasons it's not higher is it is super warm and the winds are blowing out. The combined K rate's 23%, so it kind of shows you a little bit of the upside. Washington's offense
not scary anymore.
But I still don't love the play. And the reason is in the expected lineup, in 71 plate attempts versus Syndergaard, they're hitting 358 off him with 5 home runs and only a 19.7% K rate. So I just don't love this play.
Okay.
Partially the weather, partially what we've seen from Syndergaard. He hasn't shown us a ton of upside. And so if ownership's really going there, I don't know if I will.
All right. And, settling into his new digs, his new team.
Yeah, there's a lot going on for him.
Let's talk about low owned for today. And another guy settling into his new digs is Cardinals lefty Jose Quintana going up against the Cubs today. He's just a 2% ownership right now on both sites. Like you mentioned earlier, you do expect this to go up, but he does have a 3.50 ERA, 251 opponent average. The last 2 starts, he hasn't given up more than a run, and he hasn't given up more than 4 hits. He hasn't given up a run, period. Sorry, I misread my stats there. So he hasn't given up a run the past 2 starts. No more than 4 hits in each of the last. And now on a team where he will finally get some run support.
Yeah, he has a borderline elite ERA and FIP on the year, especially over the last 5. Great StatCast data, 4-star alert rating, and like you said, he's finally getting some run support. So he could actually get some wins, which, is a big bump up when it comes into DFS. We do have him at almost a 22% combined K rate, so it is low price. There is a decent upside here. You throw in a win on top of that, and it does look really good.
All right, let's talk about Blue Jays righty Alek Manoah going up against the Twins today. 29% on DraftKings, 5% owned on FanDuel, 2.43 ERA, 2.14 opponent average. Now, last game, he got the L versus the Tigers, 4 earned runs, including a home run, 5 1/3 innings, and just 4 Ks. But he's been so solid. Been so good.
Yeah. And we have him at a 22% combined K rate. So at his price, it isn't a ton of upside, but he has a pretty solid safety rating, decent ceiling, and Manoah strikes out more batters when he's away than at home. So that is one thing, to kind of take note of. He strikes out more guys. 3.5-star alert rating. I do like Manoah today, and especially on FanDuel at 5%. I think that's way too low.
Interesting play coming up here right now. Texas Rangers lefty Cole Reagans, 3% owned on DraftKings, 2% owned on FanDuel. And this is the 2016 first-round pick for the Rangers, making his major league debut. Now, why do you ask, as a guy who's the first-round pick in 2016 finally getting the call-up? Well, he had 2 Tommy John surgery. His development was delayed by the COVID situation. So he has spent a lot of time, trying to grind it out through a lot of adversity. But now he's up, and he has split his time this season between high A, double A, putting up a 4.35 ERA in 80 2/3 innings. What do you like about this play for today?
I know you brought up his double A numbers, but in the minors overall, he has like a 2.81 ERA. And 11.4 Ks per 9. So he does have some strikeout upside. He is near minimum prices on both sites, 5K on DK, 7K on FanDuel. He's been throwing about 90-plus pitches in the minors, so he's going to be fully stretched out. Now, the White Sox offense is good, but you can kind of beat them, have right around a 21% K rate. So I would say his combined K rate with his minor league strikeout numbers is probably really somewhere in the 21-22%. And at those prices, there's some nice upside. It is risky. It's his first start. We know guys that are good in the minors don't always translate to the majors.
Or it takes them a couple games.
Or it takes them a few games. But if nobody's going there and there is some upside, it's an interesting spot.
Yeah. I mean, he's a very highly touted prospect for them.
Yes.
And I like that matchup for today. Let's talk about our stacks for today now. So we got our kind of pitching situated for today. Let's talk about some stacking. The high-owned stacks for today. First, we're going to look at the Phillies going up against Nationals righty Paolo Espino. 3.78 ERA for him, 2.68 opponent average. The thing with him, he doesn't go too deep into games. I think 5 innings is his max, and that Nationals bullpen is terrible. So I can see why people are looking to Phillies bats for today.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy. It's bad pitcher, good offense, good hitting weather. Vegas total of 5.3 implied runs. So really not surprised that everybody's going to Philadelphia today.
So maybe not worth fading
completely? out of them and Tampa Bay is what we have as the two high owned right now. Tampa Bay is definitely my fade over Philadelphia. Okay. Now, Philadelphia will be much higher owned throughout the day. I would pay attention to that because if it is like a crazy ownership, like a Colorado type situation, then maybe I'd stay away. But if it's just kind of a normal high owned, then I wouldn't fade.
Well, let's talk about the team you might be fading today, and that's the Rays. They're going up against Tigers righty Drew Hutchison, 4.53 ERA, 2.43 opponent average. Well, he did have a really good outing last time out against the Blue Jays, held them to just 2 hits and 1 run through 5 innings. Interesting play here. Like you mentioned, I don't love it just looking at the different stats and the matchups. So, what do you think people are drawn to here?
I'm guessing it's just the fact that it's value, that it's a lot of cheap hitters kind of make it. There's 4.4 run implied run total, which isn't super high. Hutchinson's been okay. Kind of hit or miss. He will have his blowout games, but also have some good games. But Tampa Bay versus righties has a below 300 WOBA. So I'm really not getting the love of why people are going to Tampa Bay.
All right, so let's talk about some other ones that we are loving for today in our low-owned stacks. We've got to talk about the Cardinals going up against the Cubs. I kind of expect the ownership to go up on this one.
Absolutely.
Cubs are calling up Sean Newcomb from AAA Iowa, and he has been up to the majors before. All 39 appearances, though, have come from the bullpen. Now, he has been built up a bit in the minors to 4 innings, but it's just 71 pitches in his last minor league outing. And again, a situation kind of similar to the Nationals where you've got a pitcher who, won't make it far and a bullpen also that's not great.
Yeah, and St. Louis crushes lefties. So you add that in. Newcomb was a fairly highly touted prospect, but he hasn't shown it in the majors. He's almost 30 years old now, so it's not like he's a prospect anymore. He's had some time in the majors to kind of figure it out, and it just hasn't really happened. His numbers are in the minors have been good, and they've been good for years now. Every time he comes up, he gets blown up again. And I would say there's a good chance of that happening once again. He is up to like 70 pitches in the minors, so I would expect him to go as long as he can. But we have a 4.7 implied run total, warm weather. I like the spot.
You got to face Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, as a lefty. As a lefty. Good luck.
Good luck, Shawnee. All right, let's go to the Astros, who are facing the Guardians today. It's going to be the righty Zach Plesac for them on the hill. 4.33 ERA for him, 2.57 opponent average. And he's gotten the L in 4 of the last 5, giving up an average of 3.2 runs per game in that span. And you're talking about the Astros.
He's another one of those meh pitchers, 4.5 FIP over his last 20. And the Astros BVP numbers, in 31 plate attempts, they're hitting 370 off him with a 440 WOBA. We have a 4.5 implied total. The wind is blowing out. Slightly out. It's not that strong. But there's a lot to like about Houston. Now, they're not going to be super low owned by any means. I would say they're probably the 3rd highest team. But even with that, you got to like Houston today.
Yeah. You got to like it's strange to see Cardinals and Houston both so low owned given the slate today. So
and how good of an offense they are, and with how many cheap pitching options there are.
Well, some great plays for today for you in daily fantasy. Those ownership stats that we were talking about, so crucial for daily fantasy, especially in those bigger contests. Got to find a little leverage. And LineStar app is where you can find that leverage. Those ownership stats are all available at linestarapp.com. Check it out right now. Now, let's use the LineStar app to get our sleeper picks of the day. Our DraftKings sleeper of the day. We go to the LineStar app and sort by value. It's going to be Lars Nootbaar, Cardinals bat. LineStar's liking the Cardinals bats for today for that value. Only $2,000 on DraftKings going up against Sean Newcomb, who we talked about. He's getting the call up, doesn't go very far into games. Cubs bullpen, not very good. Let's pull up his player card. And, take a look. He was perfect at the plate the other day. And also has been putting up some decent numbers in fantasy. Where I'm looking to find that is that blue box is indicating what they scored in daily fantasy. So you can see he's exceeded his projection, which is that purple box. So he's done pretty well. And you can see in the alert score, he's got a 3.5 alert score, 8.33 fantasy points in 12 favored games. So good news for today because his Cardinals obviously favored in this one. So a good play there on fantasy for $2,000 in DraftKings. Our sleeper pick on FanDuel, it's going to be Dylan Carson. We got another Cardinals bat going up against the Cubs today, $2,700 on FanDuel. Pulling up his players card. On Tuesday, 2-run home run in their win over the Cubs. So taking a look at some of his fantasy performances, you can see he's put up over 20 points a couple times. He's batting leadoff, or expected to be so far. Top 5% hitter versus left-handed pitchers with 3.28 fantasy points per game. He's got a 3-star alert for today, meaning we like his matchup for today. You can see his nice splits there against lefties for today. And as we just mentioned, top 5% hitter versus lefty pitcher. So really great value for today for those Cardinals bats coming in at only $2,700.
And Carlson on DraftKings is 4K. So DraftKings is saying that he's a much better hitter than FanDuel is saying right now.
So great value there on FanDuel. Make sure you can check out all of the information and value plays at LineStarApp.com. So check it out. We've got much more than just the value plays. We have ownership. We've got player props, daily matchup, and you could sort by that alert tool that tells you the best matchups of the day. So really great tool, LineStarApp.com. Check it out. Now it's time for our home run calls of the day. Who we think is going yard today. Tyler, who you got for today? Who's hitting the bomb?
Who's hitting the bomb is the Phillies' Kyle Schwarber. Now, it's a righty-lefty matchup. Schwarber has 2 home runs in 5 plate appearances off Espino. It's over 90 degrees. The wind's blowing out. I'm calling for a Schwarbomb today.
All right, I'm going Nolan Arenado. I think he hits a bomb today. He's going up against Cubs lefty Sean Newcomb. And we've talked about how Newcomb's he got the call up to start today. He's really only made relief appearances in his appearances up in the big leagues. And he's not really expected to go past 4 innings, maybe tops. And when you look at the Cubs bullpen, they have the second highest home run per 9 rate in baseball. The bullpen is just not good. And when you look at Nolan Arenado, he is good and does really well against lefties. In fact, his slugging percentage against lefties is over 100 points higher than he hits against righties. Definitely think he's going to hit a bomb. He's hit 2 in the past 3 days. He's feeling it. Arenado going yard today.
Good old Nato bomb.
It is time now for our prop bets of the day. And yesterday, both Tyler and I hit our props, which means one lucky commenter will win $60. And the winner today is Mike Moore.
Congrats, Mike.
Congratulations. And be sure to DM us on Twitter.
Yes.
We'll get in contact with you so that you can claim your prize. And for today, if you subscribe, and comment below to our YouTube channel, you can also be entered in to win $60. If both Tyler and I hit our props today, you can win that $60. It's that easy. And our picks are available on Prize Picks for today. So be sure to download Prize Picks if you haven't already. Prize Picks is available in most states. So even if sports gambling isn't legal, you could still download the Prize Picks app and get in on those props action for today. That link is below, so be sure to click on that. So, Prize Picks for today for our prop bets. Where are you headed for your prop bet, Tyler?
All right, I am going with the Toronto Blue Jays, Alek Manoah for over 5.5 Ks. Manoah has a 22% combined K rate today, but he almost averages 1 K per inning while on the road. And in a small sample size versus Minnesota, he is a 30% K rate for them. 5.5 Ks, I think, is just too low. And he's hit that number in at least 60% of his matchups over the last 10 starts. So.
All right, Alec Manoah, here we go. I'm going with a hitter prop today. I'm going Matt Olson over 1.5 bases. Now, that's actually plus money, plus 100, but I'm kind of confident in this one. Today, the lefty bat of Matt Olson is going up against Mets righty Carlos Carrasco. And actually, Olson has really good numbers against him. It's a very small sample size, but 5 for 8 with 2 home runs. Olson's also much better against righties. He's also likely batting third. Wind is blowing out at Citi Field. I think there's going to be a lot of energy in this matchup just because of what's at stake in the NL East with this. And I think Matt Olson delivers on this prop, 1.5 bases. So both of us got to hit it against Day. We're looking to make it 2 days in a row.
Yep.
So be sure to play along with us.
And 3 this week.
3 this week. Yeah. We're going for 3. So be sure to download the Prize Picks app. That link is below. And be sure to, new users who deposit at least $10 can get their deposit matched up to $100.
You also get awesome 2 months free LineStar.
There you go. Link is below to that. All right. So that's our show for today. Got a lot to get to. Nice slate today. I kind of like all the pitchers. I like our hitters.
I agree too. Today is one of those slates where I like a lot of the lower owned stuff.
Could be a lot of fun.
Which those are the slates that I tend to make money on.
Nice.
The one where I like the high owned stuff usually don't work out for me.
And if you do poorly, just watch some football.
Yeah,
it's on tonight.
We got football. Padre game starts in a couple hours.
Man, the Padres
Slam
looking
Diego.
Good. Slam Diego.
Yep, let's go.
My goodness.
LFG San Diego.
Well, they got a really fun matchup this weekend. I'm looking forward to that.
That's gonna be
all right. Good luck in all your daily fantasy today and your prop bets. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.